Your students do not know what to ask in an admissions interview at a career or trade school. And this is a problem. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kathy Belletti, founder of Motivate with K.A.T, which is an admissions training company. I also coach enrollment leaders. And what I've been finding is too many times students want to go to a career or trade school and they're not really sure how the interview process goes, what kind of questions they should ask, if they're even making the right career choice. And here's a couple of things to consider. All right. Sometimes schools don't even understand. Sometimes students don't understand what a career school is. And what that is, it's a place that you go where you're able to learn a specific skill in a specific industry. So, in a lot of cases, it gets you out into the work field much quicker. But here's what's happening also. The major reason why a lot of people are trying to decide ah, is college for me or is a trade school for me is because sometimes society paints a picture that you are not contributing to society if you're not attending a 2 or 4 year college. And that's not fair and it's not true. Here's the other thing to consider. So many times when people think of trade schools, trade programs, career schools, they're always thinking, I don't want to be a truck driver. I'm not trying to be a plumber. I don't want to be an electrician. And now we have to think about, okay, who told you that those were the only careers that you can actually study for if you decide not to go to a traditional school? There's so many different ones. So you can be a radiologist, right? You have some programs in law like paralegal where you can actually go and get a certificate to do that. Ultrasound tech, cardiovascular, and diagnostic, those are all trade programs. Air traffic controller, that's an interesting one, right? Nursing, there's a lot of programs where if you spent some time in college, you can actually go to an institution and get a certificate in nursing and get into the field and start working. Information technology, graphic designing, cosmetology, these are all different career paths that you can take at a career school. But what I'm finding is that so many students are just misinformed. Okay. So, as an advisor, this is your job to get your students on track. All right. So, let's get into some of the questions. Number one, when you go in for an interview, you want to make sure that the program is the right fit for you. So many times we have students who are wasting countless hours in these programs and then they graduate and they realize, you know what? This is not something that I want to do after all. Guess what? You've already invested the money in the student loan. And if you choose the wrong program, which your advisor should be the one helping you with, right? Now that investment now becomes debt. Okay. And this is why you hear so many students say, oh my gosh, student loan debt. I don't want to take out any student loans. And it's really because if you're not working in your field, is it really an investment? No, it is some type of debt now because you're not doing anything with that money that's going to assist you in paying it back. Okay. So you want to ask about the program. Is that program even in line with who you are as a person? And this is where you have to be brutally honest with your advisors because you also have to understand when it comes to career education. Yes, a lot of students, they understand that it's sales, right? Admissions advisors are not paid on commission, just to clean that up, right? Because I've gotten that question my entire career and I'm going on 18 years in higher education. But you want to be able to look at the course content and you have to know yourself for who you are. So here's a perfect example. You're the type of person who really don't like people that much, right? You don't want to be up front where you're talking to customers or patients all day long. You don't want to be stuck doing paperwork or scheduling appointments. You really don't like to be around people. So you're not really interested in being around coworkers either, right? You go into a campus and you're asking about medical assistant. Now, if you do understand the medical assistant program, yeah, it is an upfront and personal type of position. So, yes, you're going to be talking to coworkers on each side of you in some cases all day long. You're going to be talking to patients who are coming in, scheduling appointments, booking appointments. You're going to be dealing with medical files. You're going to be upfront because you are the face of that doctor's office. Why are you signing off on the medical assistant program? You may be a better fit for medical billing and coding, which is more behind the scenes and you get to work independently. Okay, now that's a fit for you and your personality. But sometimes we fall into the trap of choosing a program just because of the income potential. And who loses in the end? The student. Okay. So, advisors, or those of you who are listening, this is something for you also. When you see a student who's coming in, after getting to know them, if you realize that they might not be choosing the right program that's suited for who they are, advise them on something else that's going to be a benefit that they're going to enjoy. All right. So, you want to ask about the length of time. How long is the program? These may seem like questions that are automatically told to you, but they're not. And I've seen too many times students they start the program and they're like, hold on for a second. I'm going to be in school for how many hours during the day? And people may say, hold on for a second, but you didn't ask that question during the interview. Okay, these are things that you want to know. You want to know the course content. You want to know how many classes you're taking each session. Because when you're thinking about a career school, in a lot of cases, they don't have semesters. They may have something called a module or a session, right? So you may have a class that's starting every 5, 6, or 7 weeks. You need to know how many classes you're taking in that allotted amount of time so that you can actually schedule your life accordingly. Okay. The second thing, you want to know about support. If you're the type of student, number one, who needs hands on training, okay, if it's a program where there's absolutely none, you already know that's not the program for you because you have to know the type of learner that you are. But also, if you're the type of student who needs additional help after school, you're going to want to ask about tutoring. Is there tutoring available? Are there people who are assigned to one student at a time? Is there group tutoring? These are different questions that you have to ask because this is who you are and this is what your needs are as individuals. Okay. Attendance. This is where I see a lot of students go left also because they're not sure what the attendance rules are. Now, yes, we all want to make sure that you students are going to be in class 100% of the time. But unfortunately, when life starts lifing, okay, that's not always the easiest thing, especially if you have multiple jobs and you're trying to attend school at the same time. You have multiple kids, right? You need to know, oh my gosh, if my babysitter backs out on me about 3 times, am I going to be penalized? Am I going to be kicked out of this program? I need to know this information. So make sure that you're asking about attendance requirements. So a lot of times I find that students, they do not know the actual length of the financial aid process. So sometimes they may come in and they think it's a one and done thing. I already filled out the FAFSA. Okay, you told me I qualify. All right, great. Don't call this phone again. And that's not always the case. Sometimes financial aid can be completed within 24 to 48 hours, but in other cases, it may take 3 weeks. So you have to understand what the expectation is. What documents are needed for financial aid? Ask those questions. Do I need tax documents? If I am a dependent student, do I need to bring my parents in on this? Wonder if you're a foster child. Wonder if you've been on your own forever and you don't have either one of your parents, neither do you have a grandmother or a grandparent that's around. You need to know, okay, what are my options and who do I need to get in contact with to ensure that I'm going to be able to get through this process? Okay. Make sure that you're asking those questions. When it comes to your high school diploma or your GED, do not be afraid to speak up and say, ooh, I don't know when the last time I saw my high school diploma. Last time I saw my GED, my cat was drooling on it. Or the last time I saw my bachelor's degree, my dog was having a snack. Don't be afraid to say these things because you want the financial aid team, the academic team, your admissions advisors to actually jump in and assist you with this. But remember, if you're keeping this vital information from them, they're not going to be able to help you. And in a lot of cases, if you do not have those documents, you're not going to be able to start school. Okay, so make sure that you are asking these questions so that you get ahead of the curve. It's very important because you're going to waste a lot of time. All right. The other thing is when it comes to schedules, besides finding out, okay, how many classes I have to take, you need to find out about the schedule. Is it in line with your job? Is it in line with your life and what you have to take care of, your priorities? But most important, you need to find out, can I actually switch schedules? And if I can, at what point in time? I've seen too many students start a program and then something happens, or this is something that was already going on in their life that you did not let the school know. And now you need to probably take a couple night classes here, but then a day class here. And some schedules are not set up like that. Or you may have to switch schedules because of something that was already going on. And because no one knows about it, you may not be able to just switch your schedule in week 3. All right. So make sure that you're asking these questions. Now, outcomes, of course, when it comes to school, you want to know about outcomes. You want to know about graduation rates. You want to know about placement rates. Now, a lot of schools are going to tell you to refer to their website. And that's very important because you're going to want to refer to the website because a lot of times the website has updated information. Okay. And when you're talking to an advisor, you need to make sure that you're asking them as of when. If someone is quoting you a graduation rate of 85%, you can't automatically assume that that's always going to be their graduation rate because the first quarter of 2023, it could have been 85, but then the second quarter, it could have been 73, or it could have been 100%. So you always want to make sure that you stay up to date with that information. If the school is giving out catalogs for students who are not enrolled, find out that information or ask them, okay, so where can I be directed to this information? You want to make sure that you're making the right choice for yourself and your family. If you're in a hands-on training program, you're going to want to know, okay, is there an internship that's attached to this program? We used to call them externships because it was required in order for you to graduate. But there are some schools who call them internships because you've already completed the program. And this is something that you're doing like after you've already gotten your certificate and everything. And normally internships, when it comes to career schools, that's something that you're going out and you're searching for on your own. All right. A lot of schools are different. So you have to make sure that you understand which school you're going to and what their regulations are. But that's something that you want to know. How many clock hours do I have to complete in my externship or my internship in order for me to get my certification or my diploma? Another question that you need to ask in order for me to graduate. These are very important questions. And speaking of graduation, is there one? Since the pandemic, there's a lot of schools who no longer have graduation on campus or graduation, at a different venue. But there are a lot of schools who started graduations again, and there's some schools who do remote virtual graduations. This is information that you want to know because, a lot of your friends and families, they want to attend to support you. And you don't want to wait until the very last minute thinking that everyone is going to be excited to gain their tickets. And then the school goes, oh, no, this is virtual. If they don't have Zoom, I'm not sure if they can actually attend. And you're like, Zoom? You want to ask these questions ahead of time. All right, some of these questions you can actually find on bls.gov, especially when it comes to income potential. You have to understand that due to regulations, do not get angry with your admissions advisors if they do not answer the question of income because they're not supposed to. All right, because sometimes income, it really depends on the student and their situation and their previous experience. So an advisor cannot quote an income for everyone. Perfect example, you may have a medical assistant who probably had prior experience. And even though they're going into entry level, that hiring manager may say, well, you know what, you have worked at X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to start you at $30 an hour. But then you have the same student you have another student in the same class who got really great grades too. And now they're starting at 18. All right. So this is why you cannot expect your advisor to quote salaries. Go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that's bls.gov, and they're going to be able to give you a snapshot and ranges of what those salaries are and also the projected growth between 1 year to the next. A lot of times it's a 10-year growth span that they go through, okay? But these are questions that you always have to make sure that you ask. But all in all, when it comes to choosing the right career path, you just have to make sure that it's the best fit for you. I see too many students who enroll in programs because somebody else told them it was a good idea, or because you just want to make your family proud, and then you are miserable every single day that you're showing up to class. You're like, I don't want to be here. But then you also have to keep in mind that this is money that you're investing. This is time that you're investing. And most importantly, when you graduate from this program, you do know that this is a job that you're going to have to be traveling to every single day. And so now you have to think to yourself, oh my gosh, can I imagine myself waking up and doing this every single day? Choose something that sets your soul on fire. Choose something that makes you happy, something that you don't mind doing for a long period of time. And then also consider the fact that you can start at entry level. And while you're in your career, okay, because we all know a job is just over broke, but when you get into your career, you can always go back to school and gain additional skills so that now you can begin to climb that ladder. Okay. It was so much fun hanging out with you guys today. If you have any questions, make sure that you drop them in the chat. If this is something that you know is going to be helpful to someone, I urge you to make sure that you share this live. And of course, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any other notifications. All right. Until next time. Bye, guys.